Good evening and welcome to the August 15th Gladstone Planning Commission meeting. It is now 6:30 p.m. Would you please do a roll call, Tammy?
Commissioner Volbada,
Present.
Commissioner Weiss,
Here.
Commissioner Langston,
Present.
Commissioner Labonte, Commissioner Pat Smith,
Here.
Commissioner Mercero,
Here.
Chair Smith.
Present. Let's do the flag salute, please. Okay, ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have the consent agenda this evening. We have 3 items. Approval of the June 20th, 2023 meeting minutes, and then our regular agenda. Number 2, monthly planning report, June and July, and then public hearing TXT-23-02, Gladstone Municipal Code amendments for our proposed new Chapter 17.81 annexation. Okay, so let's move on to the approval of the meeting minutes. Would someone like to make a motion, or is there any discussion and or corrections?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion was made by Commissioner Mercero and seconded by Commissioner Langston. Tammy, will you do a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Mercero,
Here.
is that a yes? You're approving minutes?
Yes, I'm approving minutes. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Commissioner Pat Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Langston,
Yes.
Commissioner Weiss,
Yes.
Commissioner Volbada,
Yes.
Chair Smith.
Yes, meeting minutes have been approved. Now for the monthly planning report. Staff?
Thank you, Chair Smith. In your packet this evening, you have planning reports for both June and July. Since we did not hold a meeting in July, we didn't have business to bring before the Planning Commission. So I'm happy to answer any questions you have about either of those months.
I don't know if now is the appropriate time to talk about, with the way that some of the codes have changed in regards to not having to bring everything before the Planning Commission. I spoke to City Administrator Betts regarding figuring out a way that we all can be on the same page, or that we're more educated so that we fully are aware of what's going on. I'm referencing the treehouse issue. I had citizens contacting me and I wasn't I didn't know everything that you guys knew.
Sure.
So we need to figure out a process so that everyone sitting up here is fully educated and aware of everything, even if it's something that doesn't require coming before us. So I don't know how we're gonna.
So we do have the building permit section. I could definitely add, a sentence or two of narrative to each of those and explain it. I usually just write, building remodel or based on Planning Commission approval, but I can do a little more explanation of it when I put those forward.
Commissioners, how do you feel? And do you have any input regarding this?
I think a little narrative would be nice, but also I think, having you guys on staff, we don't need to see everything. And so I think knowing.
But we need to be aware of what's going on.
Sure, being aware of, and being able to direct them to the correct party to answer more detailed questions.
Well, I think specifically with the treehouse issue, we did receive an email, and I think if something like this came up again, that was a very good, neat and tidy wrap up of information. And that's all I would expect. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's easy enough for me to add another sentence or two to each of those lines. And then I think if there were those big issues where we know we're hearing a lot in the community and the city council is asking the questions, I would anticipate you getting those emails.
Okay, that sounds good. Any other questions and or input?
I had a question. In June, the Gladstone Library went back for re-review. May I ask what changed?
Yes, so the way the building permit system works with Clackamas County, even if somebody had a problem with something with the plumbing, I look at it again. So it's, but in our new system, I'll write no changes from planning or something like that, issue outside of the city department, to make that a little more clear. But there was nothing that I triggered for needing to review.
Great, thanks.
Okay. On to our next item. Sorry about that. Okay, I would like to open our public hearing for TXT 23-02 Gladstone Municipal Code Amendments for proposed new chapter 17.81 annexation. Let me read the legislative land use hearing. We're opening it on August 15th at 6:36. And let me see here. Would like to read the conduct of the hearing. The order of business will follow in conducting this hearing. Presentation of staff report, entry of correspondence into the record, public testimony, additional staff comments, questions from the commission, hearing closed, no further testimony from the audience, discussion by commission, and a decision. Testimony. Any interested person may present testimony concerning these proposed amendments. The public hearing is your opportunity to comment on the proposal before the city makes a decision. We want to hear what you have to say, and we want you to give us your point of view. Help us to understand why you have drawn your conclusion and how it relates to the proposal. Public testimony for this hearing will be called for in 3 groups: testimony in favor of the proposal, testimony opposed to the proposal, and neutral testimony. If you wish to speak, please fill out one of the testimony forms and submit it to the city recorder. I will recognize those persons wishing to speak, and any questions should be addressed through me. When you testify, please state your name and address for the record, as this hearing will be taped. If you are participating online, click the raise hand button at the appropriate time and wait to be recognized. If you are participating via telephone, dial *9 to raise your hand at the appropriate time and wait to be recognized. At this time, I would like to ask the members of the commission if they are abstaining from this matter or need to declare any conflicts of interest. Please indicate the nature of the conflict of interest and indicate whether you intend to participate in or abstain from this hearing. Start with you.
I will be participating.
I
Commissioner
will be
Weiss?
participating.
Okay.
Yep, I have no reason to abstain. I'll participate.
I have no reason to abstain.
Commissioner Mercero?
I have no reason to abstain.
Okay, nor do I. So staff, will you please present the staff report?
Thank you, Chair Smith. We have a few slides to just present the materials that are in the packet for this evening. And then we're accompanied this evening by your city attorney, David Doofman, who drafted the language. So I'm happy to answer questions. I've certainly reviewed it and made sure that I'll be ready to implement when it's time to do that. But David has done a lot of this type of work in other jurisdictions as well. So this evening, we are considering the addition of a new chapter to the Gladstone Municipal Code, Chapter 17.81. Thank you. And we will be doing a text amendment to our comprehensive plan to be able to add this to our development code section of our municipal code, which requires a recommendation of the Planning Commission to the City Council, who makes an ultimate decision. So this evening, this proposal is coming from city staff with a new chapter. This did go before the city council. They've had a chance to discuss it and direct staff to prepare these amendments to the code so that we can address issues that have occurred with properties adjacent to the city and services, and how the city can implement an annexation policy to make sure that we're growing appropriately and making sure that the services are available. Currently, we have no language in our development code or municipal code related to annexation, so we don't have a process in place at this time for someone to request an annexation petition to the city. In your staff report this evening, you do have findings related to the proposed text amendment, and they do show compliance with the Oregon statewide planning goals that are applicable, the Gladstone Municipal Code, Metro's functional plan, and the transportation planning rule. And those findings are in the staff report, which has been submitted to DLCD. And I'll just mention Metro's functional plan really quickly too. There are requirements in Metro's functional plan that we as a city in Metro have to follow to add information to our development code, but the code language itself references the Metro functional plan also because there is specific annexation requirements that we have to meet through Metro. So we are largely adopting the Metro rules for how to annex as well. And that's all we really have as background information for the language this evening. So we are recommending that the Planning Commission recommend approval of the proposed text amendment to the City Council, and they will hold a public hearing on this matter on September 12th, 2023. So with that short presentation, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Commissioners, any questions?
Yes, I have two.
Okay.
In terms of annexation, how small a piece can be annexed to a city? Single lot?
Yes, single lot is, yep, could be proposed.
And the other one is on page 3.2. There's a mention of a citizen involvement, an officially recognized committee for public involvement.
Yes.
How does staff see that being structured?
So in Gladstone, like a lot of other cities, the Planning Commission does tend to be your public involvement body where public hearings are held, where people have an opportunity to come and testify on land use matters. So the city is in compliance with the state laws regarding public involvement.
So this wouldn't be like a separate committee?
Correct.
Okay.
Your
got it.
Planning Commission
Thank you.
can serve as that. Yes.
Any other questions, commissioners? Jake? Jennifer? Okay. Have we received any correspondence pertaining to this?
I have not received any.
Okay,
I have not either.
okay. Is there any public testimony?
I've not received any speaker cards.
Okay.
Anybody-
And you don't have any, staff has no other further additions to?
I do not. If there was any testimony, I'd be happy to answer any questions, but
Okay.
otherwise, I don't believe I do.
Okay. If there's no further questions or, go ahead.
Hmm.
Okay. I think we could probably move forward to, there's no further staff comments. If there's no further questions or clarification, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Seconded.
Commissioner Pat Smith made the motion to close the hearing and Commissioner Langston seconded. Tammy, could you do a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Mercero,
Aye.
Commissioner Pat Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Langston,
Yes.
Commissioner Weiss,
Yes.
Commissioner Volbada,
Yes.
Chair Smith.
Yes, so the public hearing for TXT 23-02 is closed at 7:44.
6:44.
6:44, sorry. Thank you. Okay, deliberation.
All right.
Do we need any deliberation? Or is everyone pretty well set to make a motion?
Yep.
Commissioner Mercero, do you have any input?
No input. Other
Okay.
than, I went through and checked all the findings and everything seemed to match up and I was happy with the responses.
Okay. Well, in that case, if there's no further deliberation, I would accept a motion to make a decision on this proposal.
I'll make a motion to approve this for review for city council. GMC 17.81 annexation code amendments.
Remember to state the file number too.
Oh, file number, sorry. TXT 2302.
Okay.
And I will second it.
Okay, Commissioner Langston made the motion to approve and Commissioner Mercero seconded it. Tammy, could you do a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Volbada,
Yes.
Commissioner Weiss,
Yes.
Commissioner Langston,
Yes.
Commissioner Pat Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercero,
yes,
Chair Smith.
Yes. Motion has been approved. Okay. So do we have any business from the public?
I've received no comments.
None at all. Okay. Jennifer, business from the planning commission. Can we start with you?
Sure can. I have nothing new.
Okay. Commissioner Reese?
Yeah, I was watching the video from last meeting since I missed, and Commissioner Pat Smith had brought up the inclusion of renters in the nearby establishments in the radius. I think that's the second time that has come up since I joined. So I was wondering if we could propose potentially including renters in the code as a party to notify. I believe that is in 17.94.020. We include owners in the vicinity, but we could add something like postal addresses in the vicinity to notify renters nearby upcoming changes.
I'd agree with that. How does everybody else feel about that?
I'd be curious what David has to say about that. If, I'm totally open, but I'm really curious on the legal side if they have, vested interest in everything. So.
Sure. Legally, it would be perfectly fine. I think the practical issue to consider is and I like the way that, I'm sorry, I don't know who mentioned it just now, but the idea of
Commissioner Weiss.
using a Weiss, Commissioner Weiss's proposal about a post office address versus an individual, and the reason being simply that it may be very difficult, if not impossible, to determine for the city's purposes who's renting, who isn't. And the standard is generally looking at the latest county tax rolls. So that's how notices will typically work for communities. And that, is pretty easy to do. And you send it to the last record owner on those tax rolls. So if you were to also add this, which again is great, no problem. You're just broadening who you're hoping to notify. I would just do it less tied to who is maybe a renter or someone else that might be residing, and just more about the have it be tied to the address of the property itself. So you could say like the residents of such and such property.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Andrew, how do you feel about that?
No, I agree.
Okay.
I agree too. If I recall my own mention, it had to do with ingress egress into some property that was inhabited by renters, and not letting them know that they wouldn't be able to either get in or get out of their property didn't seem to be the right way to handle it. So
Sure.
I like it. Good suggestion.
Yeah, very nice.
Commissioner Mercero, are you okay with that too?
I am totally okay with that. I think that's great to have the renters involved, and that the city has grown from basically owned by the property owners to a large rental property at this point. So I agree.
Okay, thank you. Okay, great. Thank you.
If I may just really quickly, the city does have a fee for someone applying that they pay for the notice and the time to do that. And we just did increase it only slightly at the July fee schedule. It was previously like $18 and now it's $25. So it might be that we'll need to increase that fee if it's taking a little more time to compare postal addresses and make sure we're not duplicating with ownership addresses and that sort of thing. So I definitely want Tammy and I to have a chance to talk with Jackie about that. And I think it's a great idea. I just want to make sure that from the administrative side, we're making sure that's all getting taken care of as well.
Okay.
Can we get like the feedback from your findings on that?
Yes.
Serge? Thank
Yeah,
you.
definitely.
Great. Do you have anything, Andrew, that you want to share?
I have nothing new to share. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Mercero, do you have anything that you'd like to bring before us?
At this point, I'd just like to thank the staff for all the work they do, and and give them some credit for doing a whole bunch of good stuff.
Okay, thanks. Commissioner Smith.
And I believe the June city council meeting, it may have been the one before that, but our mayor kind of out of nowhere decided personally to disclose his financial interests. In other words, I own my house, this is how I fund my living, and went on and the balance of the council followed suit. I thought it was a good idea. Instead of springing it on everybody tonight, I think I'm going to do it next month at our next meeting. And there won't be any big surprises there, trust me on that. But I think in the sense of transparency, it's a good thing. In the past here in Gladstone, there's been a lot of roiling of the waters about people having vested interests. And I think the more we're out in front of that, the better off we all would be. That's just my own opinion. I'm going to do it. If you choose to, fine. If you choose not to, that's fine too.
Commissioners, how do you feel about it? Sure. Okay,
I'm good.
you're good. Okay.
But that
Okay.
gives you a chance to kind of think about it
Yeah,
and format how you want to do it.
And you don't have to go into great detail. I believe I
It was
purchased a
pretty
home.
minor. Yeah, I bought a home, I own it, or I'm paying for it, or
What do I do
rent.
for a living,
How I fund my life.
yeah, if you have any vested interests like property owner in Gladstone, rental, like rental property or a business in Gladstone, be forthcoming and say it. Okay, I think everybody else has said something. I don't have anything.
I
Go
would
ahead.
make a recommendation on that, that maybe it would be a good idea to present a form as such of format so that people are fairly consistent in the way they propose their financials.
I think that's a good idea. If I recall at the city council meeting, when the mayor did his, everybody just sort of fell in line and copied what he had done, which seemed to work fine.
And that's why I was expressing, the categories like, do you own a home? Are you renting? Just basically, and your form of living, do you own any rental property in Gladstone? Do you have a business in Gladstone? That's pretty much
That was
all.
Pretty much it.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. Does somebody want me to send that out via email or do you got it? Got it?
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. We're good for,
I think that information came off of the statement of economic interest that planning commissioners and city councilors have to file every year.
right,
So I think that was
Oh.
basically where that information came
came
from.
from. Yeah, it was just sharing it outwardly.
Correct,
Right.
yes.
Okay. I don't have anything to share at this point either. So I would, unless there's anything else, Tammy, that do we have any old business we need to address?
I have nothing that I'm
Okay.
aware of that needs to be addressed.
Okay.
Ms. Austin, does it look like we're going to have a meeting in September?
I don't have anything submitted
Okay.
for you, so nothing on the quasi judicial front. And then as far as code updates or long range planning, we are planning to go to City Council September 26th to talk about CFEC, the Climate Friendly and Equitable Communities, and where we want to head with that. So I would assume we would have a work session for you with that in October. We've had a couple of pre-application meetings. We have one this week. So I'm thinking things will start coming again. Maybe there's a bit of a summer lull. So I don't want to promise there's no September meeting, but I don't have anything for you
So,
at
yeah.
this time.
Tammy,
Yes,
the diversity and equity training is planning commission supposed to do that as well?
I'm not sure I can follow up and get you an answer
Okay,
on that, yes.
That would be great. Well, if there isn't anything further, I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
Commissioner Langston made a motion to adjourn the meeting and it was seconded by Commissioner Smith. Tammy, could you do a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Volbada,
Yes.
Commissioner Weiss,
Yes.
Commissioner Langston,
Yes.
Commissioner Pat Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Mercero,
Yes.
Chair Smith.
Yes. Meeting is adjourned.